Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Not Funny Guys Presents Go Team Venture. We are cruising towards the end of Season 8. It's coming up fast because we only have 8 episodes in this one. I just realized, we are getting there quickly. Right now, though, we are on Episode 6, Mama's Boy. We've only got 6, 7, and 8, and then it's Gargantua 2. So we're rolling along here. Mama's Boy, Episode 6, originally aired July 7, 2013, written by Doc Hammer. This one we have Hank and Dermot continuing to use that Teddy Ruxpin bear to mess with Rusty, who has now befriended him, and they use it to distract him while they basically sneak out to the compound. But he then becomes obsessed with him and thinking that he's been kidnapped and he has to go rescue his friend. And they get really annoyed because he keeps calling Dermot's phone, and this is how he's convinced of this. And of course, Gary/21 helps them out by basically letting them know who the real voice is and that he's been committed to an asylum for insane criminals. So they then rob a bank pretending to be crazy criminals. So now it's Hank, Gary, 21, Dermot, and along with Helper. And then they get themselves committed so they can get in there with the voice actor in the asylum. But they learn that the patients are in a cult led by Dean and Hank's fake mother, Myra, who's back. As Brock would say, Myra's back. Who Dean has been in contact with for some time now because of his desire for her mother and telling her she loves him on the phone, but she escapes, and then she tries to basically start a cult to have Dean put back inside her womb. But in the process, she admits that she is not the boy's mother, actually. Hank and 21, Gary, basically get committed with they help everybody escape. Orpheus, sensing a Venture boy in distress, appears, but it's Dermot who summoned him. And he frees him and Helper, while Rusty and Hatred go looking for his friend, Teddy. Their car flips over, and they narrowly are rescued by the escaped voice actor himself from the asylum. And of course, we do finally have Venture admitting that Dermot is his son. Hank and Rusty recount the events of their day to each other at the end. Dermot leaves, jokingly calls Rusty Dad, leaving him and the boys kind of shocked because he's figured it out too, thanks to Dr. Orpheus. But we have this whole bit here where we start the episode off with Rusty basically treating Dermot like his son. In fact, he even later admits that he now knows texting language. So he's hip. He's keeping up the relationship with Teddy, which apparently has been Hank and Dermot who've been playing the tape and having him talk. And at one point, Hank admits that Rusty doesn't talk at you. He talks at you, not to people. He doesn't talk to people. He talks at them, explaining how these conversations can go on, even though the bear just has a couple of repetitive things. When Teddy doesn't call back, Rusty keeps calling Dermot's phone. He eventually calls in Hatred to try and trace the situation. Hatred hasn't figured out that it's the Teddy situation again. They find everything about Teddy. They find the Teddy and the tape of the conversation in Hank's room, but Rusty still doesn't know that it's a gig. He just thinks they've been infiltrated in this conspiracy. Hatred thinks that Dean has an eating disorder, and that he's on the phone talking to someone who he says he loves. Gary, 21, meets Hank and Dermot when they're out in the yard talking about all the things that have happened there. He fills them in on the real Teddy situation, where he really is. And so Hatred and Rusty go off to By Golly Gulch using a J phone, which is JJ's version of a iPhone. They go in Hatred's tank, but eventually have to get into the Jeep. Gary, of course, knows that he's in the asylum, so they prank themselves using the Venture drill to rob a bank and pretend to be insane criminals. But only Gary and Hank get in. Rusty and Hatred get stuck in a ravine, and they start doing confession. This is where Rusty admits that he let Myra think that she was the boy's mother. Hatred calls him out. That's not really a deathbed confession. And then he admits that Dermot's his son. And then he knows. Dean, of course, has met Myra. She breaks out. They go back to the asylum, which is the Dunwich Asylum for the Criminally Insane. It's been taken over by Mama's boys. And Teddy, the voice actor, is there as well. Dean there is Myra, and she basically tries to put him back in her womb. This is where everybody starts like, whoa, what's going on here? Everybody starts breaking from the cult spell. Dermot then thinks Helper tells him to think for help. Dr. O comes, thinking it's a Venture boy, and this is where the magic has revealed that, Dermot is a Venture brother. Gary and Hank break out with the prisoners, help Dean escape as the guild shows up to put everything back in order. And the Teddy voice actor rescues Rusty and Hatred right before Hatred was about to reveal that this was all part of that scam they were pulling on him to make him feel special back in the day. But yeah, Fun episode. Get some tie-ins. Help kind of, I think we finally resolved the Myra situation, and we kind of resolved the who Dermot's real father situation is. So that's fun. But again, like, subscribe, follow along with us. We'll keep going on here to Bot Seeks Botch, which is a real action-packed episode, because that's episode 7, and then we've only got one more in Gargantua 2. So we're rolling right along here. All right, folks, we are rolling right along here. Now we are into episode 7. So only one more episode left in season 5. So here we are with Bot Seeks Bot. Episode 7, originally aired July 14th, 2013, written by Jackson Public. So the OSI is now spying, since, if you remember, they've learned some information from the inside about Clue Clown from Monstroso back in OSI I Love You. So now they're spying at Boggles the Clue Clown's funeral, where they identified, who was the only one they got identified to them that they had. Now he's dead. While there, they discover cyborg councilman Vendetta. He's being shunned by his peers because he has limited emotions. He posts a request for data for another robot on guild forums. So he's doing a Dear John letter, or was it a Lonely Hearts letter? Sorry. And the OSA disguise hero Ghost Robot as the villain Galacticon, and basically have him go out with Vendetta. They leave the restaurant where they're supposed to meet and go to a different location, which throws everything into chaos, which is Councilman Don Hell's club. Brock and Shorely go and get disguises themselves and follow him in. Rusty, who discovered them getting the disguises from their compound, believes they are going to a costume party and follows them, bringing Billy along. They are caught by Hell's men. Vendetta catches Brock and Ghost Robot in the bathroom, and Brock beats up and strips him down, disguises himself as Vendetta. They move to leave when the real Galacticon arrives, only to have Hell reveal that he has Rusty and Billy on the wheel of torture and invites the club goers to play. Brock steals the winning token so he can stall for time, while Shoreleave cuts the giant suspension disco ball above the club floor. And they are then stopped when the Monarch arrives, who's been tipped off, and Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch uses guild law to prove that the torture is illegal and that Rusty and the Monarch are left alone, only to have the ball fall on Rusty. The post-credits, Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch is invited by the Sovereign to join the council. But she asks that she has to talk to the Monarch first. The Revenge Society observes this in secret, now working with Killinger, apparently. Fun to see him back. So this one's a real doozy. We have the funeral of Boggles the Clue Clown, who apparently was Captain Sunshine's nemesis. Red Mantle is there. OSI is spying. We have Snoopy, voiced by the wonderful John Hodgman, as their tech guy. One councilman that Monstroso gave up to them is basically dead now, and Brock is very suspicious. The Clue Clown leaves a riddle that ends up being a Jack-in-the-Box version of his body is from his grave, at which Red Mantle yells out too soon. We do meet Vendetta, who is Councilman 1, who is spotted at the funeral. No data on him before the early 1970s. Originally, he turns out he is Venturian, who was one of Jonas's creations in 1976. Originally the Bicentennial Man, who went MIA after he tried to strangle Rusty. We find that Vendetta's personal ad from the thing, and they need to set a honey trap for him. So apparently Amber Gold, voiced by Paget Brewster, volunteers, but they need a male robot. She's not going to be his type. So they recruit Ghost Robot to basically go undercover as Galacticon for the date. Councilman 13, the Council of 13 introduces Phineas Phage as their new Councilman 4 to replace, I think, Dragoon, now that he and Red Mantle are sharing the same screen. They want to celebrate and go out to Don Hell's club. Basically, Sovereign says no partying, but they disobey him anyway. And we get to meet a bunch of other Council 13 members. For example, we know Dr. Z, Don Hell, Monsignor, who was the priest of the funeral, Steppenwolf, and the Nerve go along to the club. Vendetta, who we already know. We have Red Mantle Dragoon, and of course Phage. And of course they're going as well, but Vendetta is going on his date. They all are on site. They're not video conferencing in. They're literally in little pocket cells. Vendetta goes on his date. Originally, they go to Chairman Wow's Chow House, but neither of them eat, so they end up going to Don Hell's. And this creates a whole craziness for the OSI team. Brock, Shore Leave, Headshot voiced by Bill Hader, and Snoopy have to follow him and hide. They lose contact, and so eventually Shore Leave and Brock realize they have to go inside. They need to get into the club, so they go to the Venture compound to get costumes, where they run into Hatred, who gets tased by Shore Leave, and then Rusty, who thinks they're going to a costume party. He'll follow them. Shore Leave at one point calls this, "Is this your Brock cave?" Batman cave. Fortress of Brockitude, Fortress of Solitude, Superman reference. Ghost Robot as Galacticon complains about the acronym of CHIPS, the California Highway Patrol TV show at one point. St. Cloud is not allowed in to the club, fun bit, by the bouncer at the entranceway. Rusty picks up Billy and they get recognized. They try to pretend to be a ventriloquist thing, but they get recognized. Don Hell decides to make an example of him. The real Galacticon shows up. Brock takes him out, and Vendetta, basically takes Vendatta's get up to wear, leaving Vendetta like a little husk of himself. He is obviously a real person. This will be a mystery we'll continue to follow. Don Hell brings out the Wheel of Torture, but the Flying Squid has called the Monarch and let him know. So he and Dr. Monarch and Dr. Mrs. the Monarch show up and demand that they get hands off his arch, quoting rules, all that fun stuff. Rusty recognizes Vendetta as the metal murder man of his dreams, so he still remembers that strangling incident. And Shore Leave, who cut the disco ball, it eventually falls on Rusty. He is, as he's been cut down and about to be confronted by the Monarch. So we're left in a little bit of suspended animation that will lead us into our season finale with episode 8, The Devil's Grip. So we'll be talking about that more next time. Devil's Grip. And then next time we will also be taking on the 2 years later special, All This in Gargantua 2, which kind of in a lot of ways cleans up everything that's been going on in Venture World for a while here and sets the stage for the third act and big changes. So join us for that one. That, like I promise, will probably be a large episode because we'll probably spend quite a bit of time on Gargantua 2, not Galactica 2, All This in Gargantua 2, as it being a massive sort of self-contained movie episode. We'll be spending some time on that one. And of course, we'll have to figure out what happened to Rusty. Is he dead? Is he believed to be dead in The Devil's Grip? So come back and join us for that one. Like, subscribe. If you want to write to us, we're notfunnyguyz.offthereal@gmail.com. You can hit us up, comment in the YouTube section for us. I love to read those. Like, share, and all that fun stuff. And I will see you next time. Go Team Venture. Say not funny guys again.
Not funny guys again.
No, can you say not funny guys?